Joining us now is former National Security Advisor to Vice President Mike Pence, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg. General Kellogg, thank you for joining us. Do you think Iran will become nuclear capable? And if so, what happens then?
Yeah, thanks, Trey. Thanks for having me tonight. Yep, they're on their way. I think you're going to see a nuclear breakout. And what I mean by a breakout, they're going to have enough enriched uranium to produce a nuclear weapon easily within the year. They're currently producing enrichment about 60 to 70%, 90% gets weapons grade. They admit doing it, and there's no way we're going to stop it. Look, it's a fool's errand to try to get them back into the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the Iran nuclear deal. Once we started lifting sanctions, we just lifted another one on called CivNuke, which means now that third parties and other countries can actually help them develop their nuclear capability. And Ali Shamkhani, who's their chief of staff in the National Security Council, said nobody has the right to tell us to do what we want to do with nuclear development, and either peaceful, or what concerned me was the word he used, or security means. So they're heading that way. The Israelis are correct. We ought to be thinking right now, what do we do when they do have a breakout? Because it's going to destabilize the Middle East.
All right, I want to go around the globe with you. What do you make of this agreement, this no limits agreement between Russia and China?
Yeah, it was a smart move on Putin's part. What he did is he protected his flank primarily against sanctions. He just made a deal with the world's second largest economy. So he's got his economic side pretty well buttoned up. And he's also got himself buttoned up within the Security Council of the UN, because now there are two members of the UN, both Russia and China, that can veto anything that happens in the Security Council. And he's caused a tremendous disunion within, I believe, within the world, by pushing, and we mean the Chinese, by pushing that arrangement and that agreement. Putin's played it masterfully.
I want to play a clip for you that includes some perspective from a U.S. Senator who happens to be on the Intelligence Committee, and get you to react on the other side.
Right.
We are in the window. Any day now, Russia could take military action against Ukraine, or it could be a couple of weeks from now, or Russia could choose to take the diplomatic path instead. The key thing is that the United States needs to be and is prepared for any of those contingencies in lockstep with our allies and partners.
This is the single greatest threat Europe has faced since the 1940s. If we now live in a world where you can just go in and take a country because you claim it or parts of it belong to you, and you can do so militarily, well, we've entered a very dangerous period in human history once again.
General, I want to be clear. Marco Rubio is not in the group of politicians who is equivocating on what the U.S.'s position should be, but I really never thought I would hear U.S. politicians and or conservative commentators kind of equivocating on whether the U.S. should side with Ukraine if Russia invades it. I mean, am I missing something? I would have thought that would have been an easy decision for us.
Well, this is a decision that should have made long ago. Look, Ukraine's not a NATO country, so they don't fall under Article 5, which is an attack on one, attack on all. Look, I think Putin's head for a culmination point. He's arrayed his forces, and he's got enough forces to do what he wants to do in Ukraine. He's got them in Belarus. He's got them to the northwest. He's got them to the north, the northeast, the east, and the south. And all of them are top flight units. These are the units that you want to have if you're a Russian commander to go into a fight. He's also shored himself up on the diplomatic side, which I've talked about with happening with China, but he's also shored himself up with a lot of our NATO allies. You know, just the other day, you had the Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, go to Moscow, and they talked about an energy deal. This week, you're going to have President Macron of France go to Kiev and also into Moscow to talk about it. So they're kind of fragmenting the alliance. And the other thing that he has done, and which is pretty interesting to me, is he's now on this public television that he's got, the radios, Russia Radio and Russia TV. They're now talking about Ukraine, now the danger is imminent, and they're going to do something. So he's kind of set himself up to do what he wants to do. I'm hoping there's still an ability to have some type of diplomatic way out of it, but if you want to know the truth, Trey, I don't see how he's going to do it. I don't see how he backs down. His biggest issue was he did not want Ukraine to be part of NATO, and we could have handled that a year or 2 years ago, and we should have been able to do it. You know, the other issue that bothers me is that President Biden has not been involved that much. President Trump would pick up the phone and call anybody at any time. He had over 18 phone calls with Putin, and he would always try to tamp things down. He would always try to say, let's walk our way through this, diplomatic, talk our way through it. That isn't being done. You know, you've got Macron talking to Tony Blinken today. Macron should be talking to President Biden, and he's not doing that. So I think we've got a real problem diplomatically, and I think he's set to go. And if I was a betting guy, I'd say, in all probability, he's going to go in the near term.
General, thank you for your service to our country, and thank you for loaning us your expertise and perspective tonight.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.